Hey there, good morning. So whenever you come early to Monday Mobility, we're just gonna hit a little bit of foam rolling. So let's get your little foam roller today. Happy Monday. Nice day for the new daylight savings here in the US in the mountain time zone. So everything's sprung forward, which I think is completely insane. It's not my favorite time change by any means. I guess the goal was that people could work longer on the farms at night and whatnot, but now I'm just not seeing it. So anyway, most important foam rolling here on Monday morning is going to be the adductor group, the inner thigh. And so I think it's kind of one that we forget sometimes. So just bring the knee to the height of the hip, put that foam roller perpendicular. A lot of times, if you've got that foam roller going the wrong direction, you're not going to get the most out of this. So we want to lift the foot off the ground and just roll through that adductor group. And again, it's kind of like a mission of search, right? So I know I'm a little tight. Spent my first day on my TT bike outside, and just feeling the comfort of getting those knees close to the top tube, getting the full activation and access to the glute complex, getting comfortable in my low back, being down that low with that much of the hip flexion. So inner thigh is definitely part of that equation of adaptation to a new position on the bike. So I was actually doing a little bit of math, having a little chat with one of my athletes yesterday as we were in the gym, and I think it's been 2 years since my TT has been off of the trainer. So it's definitely a new position. So again, the most effective areas to foam roll to truly get tissue release is going to be probably at the 1/3 down towards the knee and the 1/3 up towards towards the pubic bone and the pubic ramus there. So let's get the other side going, get the knee up. I think I'm going to start down by the knee, working those adductors. Lift the foot up just a little bit. You'll feel it immediately than if you're just relaxed and your foot's down the ground. So let's get that foot up and work through the inner thigh just a little bit. You don't need to seek and destroy, just seek. So it's not about finding big tear creating pain by any means. We want to just find what's tight and start to really feel and get to know your body even better, that the muscles that ultimately become really spicy, like my left side, is way more spicy than my right. And I know I've been struggling a little bit with the right knee. I've been actively taking care of it before and after sessions to make sure it doesn't turn into something bigger. So paying attention as we go through this process, guys, is what's really going to help you stay super healthy through the entire season. It's a long season. Hopefully you've got lots of fun things planned coming up here in the summer, in the northern hemisphere. If you're in Australia, in the winter. All right, next thing, let's do a little quick check-in on the glutes, a little bit of reactive foam rolling. So we're just going to have a seat on that foam roller and just go ahead and let's get the lateral part. So if you're just showing up, welcome. It's 6:45. Early bird gets the worm. I tend to show up about 5 minutes early for this live session. And if you show up early on Mobility Monday, you're typically going to get a little bit of foam rolling. So and I can really, and again, foam rolling, a lot of it is just getting to know what's happening in your body. My glutes are definitely a little achy. They're not pinny. I would even pull back on using the word spicy. I would say achy, which means they are recovering. They are working. They worked for me yesterday, which I'm super stoked. It feels very balanced, right side, left side, especially in that glute med. And remember, where do these muscles come from? Like the glute med attaches across the top of your pelvis and it kind of wraps this way. And so when you go into a TT position or when you're working a hip hinge, that's a pretty big ask on that glute med. So he's really an important part of frontal plane stability when we're running, and power production for sure, as we are riding our bikes. So first thing, let's just go right into the half kneeling, and from right here, we're just going to work a little bit of the breath. Okay, so I want to work 360 degrees of expansion of the rib cage. If the intercostal muscles through the ribs, each rib, there's a little muscle in between each one of them called the intercostals. They can tend towards tightness. So today, I want you to put your hands on your rib cage, and I want to just get long through the spine, long through the top of the head, and I want you to breathe into your rib cage. First thing, I want you to find space with your breath laterally. So you're inflating your lungs, elevating your rib cage, and expanding your rib cage laterally. And then it can come back together as you exhale. Ready? Big chest. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do the same thing with the other leg. So this is pelvic position. This is hip decoupling, working the breath, okay? So expand the rib cage, create space between the ribs and the hips. You want to get as much space between in the belly as you can. Ready? Lateral expansion of the rib cage. Always reminds me of a little bit of a bodybuilder. One more big breath. Okay, the next one, we're going to go ahead and expand. We're going to take that right knee up, take it out to the outside, and we're just going to stay square to the camera here, staying square to you guys, stay square to me. So the hips can almost turn away a little bit. So this is midnight, this is 3 o'clock, this is 2:30. I want you at 2:30. Nice big breath, expand laterally, and we're just getting that adductor again. 2. We got 10 reps here. 3, 4, keep the space. 5, 6, second half of it, start to elevate the rib cage with the lats. So we're starting to pull it up even higher. 9 and 10. Good. So remember, the psoas muscle attaches right behind the rib cage, right at the bottom. So when we can lift, everybody's talking about these damn farmer walks, which are very compressive, the compressive forces. Well, if we're running, that every single landing is 2.5 times our body weight. Why would we want to compress our bodies even more? I'm going to sell you on decompression, okay? So we're at 10:30 here on that leg to the side. We've got nice big space. We're going to take a big breath, expand the rib cage laterally, and we're going 10. Right about 5, we're going to add the hands overhead. 2, 3, pull the ribs away from the hips. 4, 5, add the arm. Pull that belly nice and skinny. Get long through your middle. 2, 3, 4, and 5 more. Good. All right. Nice big breath there. Now, what we want to do, we worked our lateral expansion. I think the front part of the expansion with the rib cage is pretty clear. Now I want to expand through your back. So between the rib cage. Okay? So let's go full kneeling position. And I want your back to get as wide as it can. And then I want your chest to come up to meet it. All right? So you can have it all. You can have a big wide back and a big front chest as well. So we want everything high. I'm elevating my shoulders too much. So keep those shoulders down if you can get them down. We want to expand the rib cage 360 degrees. From a full kneeling position, you can add your anchor if you want. You can tuck your toes if you want. Ready? Create space between the ribs and the hips. Spread out your rib cage on the back side of your body. Find it. Now get lateral and get big on the front. Come on, fill that whole bunch of your ribs. 2 more big breaths. Good. All right, shake that out. All right, next thing we're going to do is lay on your back. And we're taking the knees together, the toes together, and the heels apart. A lot of what I'm teaching you guys comes from foundation training with Dr. Eric Goodman. It's a really, really wonderful community of, you know, it's about anti-back pain is where it kind of came from, but it's really turned into performance. So if we can go anti-compression, if we can go decompression, if we can find muscles that get tight so that we can strengthen everything, I think we'll be in pretty good company. So setting your anchor here, knees together, toes together, heels apart. Got it? That's your anchor. All right, pull the ribs away from the hips, from the ground. Don't worry if there's a little space under your low back. We're okay with that right now. Float your hands over the height of your heart. Give me a little bit of intention and activation of the knees together. Push them together just a little bit harder. Raise your hands over your head to decompress your spine. Keep your belly button strong into the middle of the body. So right there, you want to, if you tap here, it's pretty hard. It's pretty activated. Right there. You want to go 3 big breaths in through the nose, expand the rib cage. Find your back. From right there, let's bring the hands right next to the hips. Elevate the wrists, elbows. Pull the heels about 2 more inches closer to the butt. Pull the toes towards the shins. Keep the knees active into each other. Lift your hips off the ground 1 inch. See if you can actively get some glute fire. Some of us are going to get a hamstring cramp from this. And if you get one, let your hips come down, shake it out just a little bit, reset, come back to it. Try and find the glutes again. 3 big breaths. Hips are off the ground 1 inch. And relax. All right, good. Let's go ahead and take those knees up nice and high. Right ankle on left knee. Pull that towards you. I want you to grab the back side of that left hamstring. You should be getting a nice little adductor stretch on the right side and maybe a little hip stretch. And we're just doing mobility, so we're not going to hold that for a long time. All right. Left foot on the right knee. Come up, grab the hamstring, extend the head back down, and just give that other side 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. 1 more time each side. Right foot, left knee. Grab it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. Switch sides. Left knee. Left foot, right knee. Okay, grab strong. 5, 4, 3. If your head is up, that's a problem. Get your head back down on the ground. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's set that anchor again on the bottom part of the body. Make sure the knees are about 12 to 15 inches, maybe 12 to 15 inches, maybe 30 to 50 centimeters. I think I'm kind of close on that. All right? Take the left leg, wrap it tight around the right leg. From here, pull your right leg to the left. Okay? So I'm going to say that again. Left leg on top of right. pull it to the left. So if the left leg is on top and we're pulling across to the left, see if you can keep your shoulders on the ground, and you're going to feel nice tension in the lateral aspect of the right hip. And just keep that wrapping nice and tight. You can use the left leg to pull the hip apart. So you're creating some tension and some traction in the hip and creating some space through that hip joint. Now, if you want to create more space, which you do, let's take the right arm over the head. Keep the right bicep near the right ear. And just let's expand that right rib cage. You start to feel all the tension through your belly, through that psoas muscle, through all the fascia that wraps and holds the abdominal complex in the core. So hold that nice and strong. Reach through your fingertips. Make sure your fingers are not bent. Straighten your fingers. Breathe into that. And relax. So we're trying to create space in the body. We're trying to open up the fascial system. Okay, so let's take the other side. We're going to wrap the right leg around the left leg. The right leg is on top. Now we're pulling that back to the right. And we're starting to feel that tension and length on the left side of the body. From right there, let's go ahead and extend through the left arm. You might reposition just a little bit to try and find that length. So the right leg can pull the left side into traction. And again, we can find all this length through the rib cage, through the hip. And let's breathe into that. 3 big breaths. As soon as I start breathing, I find the psoas. Because you start bringing in the diaphragm muscle. And one more. Big breath. And relax. Okay, good. Nice job. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to straighten my mat out here. We're going to go into that half kneeling position. So the half kneeling means we go from full kneeling, 2 knees on the ground, and we're going to take that right foot out to the side with the foot facing forward. We're going to continue to work space between the ribs and the hips. Push your hips back. Again, we're getting that big adductor stretch. The more you can reach your hands to the front, the further back you can work that hip hinge. And hip hinging is massively important in performance in most sports. Okay? Push the hips back, add the hands forward, 2. And through the fingertips and through the hands, I can add tension to that adductor. Ready? Push. 3. 4. Keep your breath. And 5. Those of you that have been doing this with me for a while have started to really hopefully feel that you're getting taller, that you're starting to get decompression. We know that over time, our discs in our spine become compressed and we start to get shorter. That doesn't have to happen. It only happens if you let it. So decompression breathing, which is different than belly breathing, but decompression breathing is something they're both great. You want to be able to do all of it. So you want to just keep elevating and understanding that you can find this tensegrity, this lift in your whole system, in your whole fascial system. If I stand taller, my knees get unloaded. Okay? Crazy. All right. Left leg, right knee down, push your hips back, add the weight of the arms, and then just come right back out of it. I said this last week. I think the brilliance of being a strength coach is that you get to take all of the wisdom and all of the smart actions and all of the research and all of the thought processes from all of the smart people around the world and put it into action. I like to think that I work in the trenches. Today I will work with 7 athletes, 7 appointments. Tomorrow, I don't know, tomorrow's a big one, terrible Tuesday. I usually work with 10 to 12 athletes on Tuesdays. But the thing is, I get to play and work with human bodies one-on-one, see how they respond and react to different strategies, and then bring them to you and bring them to the performance arena to see that we're having success in keeping people healthy so they can train harder. We're going back to where we started. This time we're going to turn a little bit more in. So this is very subtle. Last time we went here, this time we're going to go here, okay? So the right leg out, we're going to add load with that left arm. Push the hips back, rotate, and reach. And then just come right back out of it. That's mobility. This is my nervous system working in conjunction with my fascial system, my skeletal system, my muscular system. Okay, hips back, reach back across. 2, you better believe you're finding that little hamstring. Ready? 3, 4, good. 1 more. And 5. And then in addition to working with all those athletes, I also have to train myself and keep myself, my old self, super healthy and long and strong and decompressed so I can perform the way I want to perform. All right? Hips back, reach back, and then come right back to square. Hips back, reach across, and come right back. Hips back, reach across, come right back. Let's go 1 more of those. Hips back, reach across, come right back. All right, good job. So let's stay with that foam roller. So if you don't have a foam roller, which most of you do, you could always use a dumbbell or something that came off the ground just a little bit. I'll go ahead and use a dumbbell today. So we want to go into a nice wide stance, and we want to push the hips back. Don't dive and drop the chest. That's not the cue, right? The cue is push your hips back. You're going to get this subtle dropping of the chest, but keep the chest open right there. And then just come right back. So all we're looking for is that here I am neutral, getting the weight on my heels, my chest drops a little bit. That's it. Super subtle. But remember, big things sometimes come from little adjustments. All right, so nice and wide. Make sure your feet are squared off, maybe even a little bit internally rotated. Okay, that brings us into this strong position with the pelvis. So let's go ahead and drop the hips back, and then just bring them back. Drop the hips back, 2. Drop the hips back, 3. So a lot of times I'll put people 1 foot or maybe 14, 15 inches away from the wall and just ask them to kiss the wall with the butt and then come all the way back, because people got to feel what a hip hinge feels like. Push your hips back, keep your toes on the ground. Good, we'll go 2 more of these. Push the hips back, good. And push the hips back as far as you can get them without falling. You might want to add the weight of the arms, and then you come right back. Now, what did you feel when you added your arms? You felt your hamstrings, right? So the whole thing is when you push your hips back, my nose is starting to get falling. I'm thinking I might fall. I think I might fall, but something's holding me from falling, and it's going to be that whole posterior chain, the whole back line of the body, right? So let's make that even harder. Let's add load to the front. We're only going to do 5 of these. Push the hips back, arms to the front, fingertips extended, 1. And if you can get your fingertips even further to the front, you're going to feel more hamstring load. Don't be afraid of that, but don't overload it either. Ready? Fingertip. Posterior fibers of adductors. It should be 2 muscles sometimes, I think. You know, adductors have anterior fibers and they have posterior fibers. They kind of have to be really that you're feeling right here. Especially if you're internally rotated, you start feeling way up in there. You start feeling this tightness because those muscles get tight and they start pulling you into this externally rotated position. But we want to say, no, you got to play. You got to get in the game. All right? So now, let's go ahead. We've got the backside very, very warmed up. We're going to just get to that end range right there and just come to the top of your prop. And from right there, push your hips back, long through your lats now. And we're just holding on nice and strong. Now don't put your weight forward, right? So right here, don't be leaning on your prop. I want your hips back, hands to the front, turn your toes in, and then gently bring yourself out of that. One more time, we load here, we forward fold, we push the hips back, we make sure the toes are internally rotated. Bring the hands back to the knees, and let's just be really safe as we bring ourselves out of that. I'm going to change the position of my sticky mat a little bit. Hang on. Again, I don't want you resting on your prop. Do not do that. Okay, right there, nice and strong. Push your hips back, hands to the front. Drop forward. You start to feel those sits bones kind of stretch and move away. See if you can push your prop even further forward. Working your breath. Soften your knees here a little bit, guys. Soften your knees. We're going to arm trace. Again, this is from foundation training. Bringing your hand, thumb is dragging all the way across the chest, all the way up. Arm comes down, thumb traces all the way down the arm to the other side. Arm trace here, all the way up. Extend and look. Bring it back, and bring it all the way back. Arm trace up. Reach up. Right there, you've got your left arm in the air. Do you feel your right adductor? Bring it all the way back. Last time. Good. And bring it all the way back. Let's bring the hands to the knees and come all the way back up and shake that out. Adductors, lats, breath. Happy Monday mobility, guys. Have a killer week of training. If you have any specific concerns, things you'd like me to do in the future, anything that can help you specifically, chances are it's going to help many other people. Stay strong, stay mobile, stay hydrated, and just keep taking good care of yourself. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you next Monday.